Today, Oklahoma started requiring some would-be teachers to take a controversial test. State Superintendent Ryan Walters says it's meant to, quote, weed out woke indoctrinators. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Naomi Kitt. TJ is off. Ryan Walters says the idea behind the test is to prevent teachers from coming from what he calls liberal states like California and New York. It could be expanded to teachers from another 6 states as well. He says teachers who don't pass the assessment won't get an Oklahoma teaching certificate.
We've recruited the top 10% of teachers nationwide to come to Oklahoma. We want the best in the classroom. But what we're not going to do is allow left-wing Marxist indoctrinators from California in. So we said, listen, we're going to have this test. We're going to make sure we're going to teach actual biology in a science classroom. We're going to make sure that they're actually going to be aligned to Oklahoma State standards.
The assessment was developed by conservative media company PragerU, which is not accredited or an educational institution. In fact, it's long been accused of spreading inaccurate information. However, Oklahoma has approved its use in schools. The new test for teachers wasn't the only thing the state superintendent had to say in his hour-long interview with 2 News Oklahoma's Emma Birch. He also pushed his recent mandate of districts paying for school lunches.
Kids sit in a classroom and they're hungry. They're not going to be able to learn as well as they can, and that's very, very important.
It's an issue most Oklahomans can agree on, making sure it's not just the students' minds that are fed, but their tummies too. But districts across the state, including Owasso Public Schools, are grappling with Walters' new mandate requiring all Oklahoma schools to provide free meals.
I would love to be able to do that, love to be able to provide meals to all students, but it's just not financially possible for us. It would cost us about $5.5 million per year to do that.
I'll tell you right now, the problem in education isn't the amount of funds going into education. There's plenty of money there. The problem has been how we're spending the money that is being dedicated to our kids.
Walters told me one meal costs about $3 a day, which would run a district about $500 a year per student. Although we learned some districts charge nearly $4 for school lunches. He says Oklahoma gives districts more than $13,000 per student, plenty to cover lunches. He claims districts aren't using that money correctly, which is why his mandate requires every district to include a line item in their budget for school meals using existing funds.
Have districts sent you those budgets of how they're going to pay for these students' meals? Have some agreed to it, some not? What has that been like?
Schools submit things to us. If they're not there, we don't turn around and go, you didn't get accredited or you missed it. What we say is, okay, but you can do A, B, and C to get there. So
Broken Arrow is among a handful of districts that have told us it's almost too late at this point to change their budget.
And so turning that budget in a quick, short 11th-hour time frame is near impossible. We're not opposed to it. We just want it done in a way that's fiduciarily responsible, meets the needs of students.
But Walters says it's not impossible.
You've seen a change of budget where they're taking money from like learning resources to put in these meals or anything like that where it might not benefit them in the classroom, but for their lunches, anything like that?
No, what we've seen is cuts in administrative costs. As a matter of fact, I just had 3. I've got to look at them this morning, but there were several board meetings this week of local districts that made announcements that now we're going to fund student lunches, and here's how we did it. So
Broken Arrow Public Schools says the mandate will cost the district $8 million. Jinx Public School says it'll cost them at least $1.5 million. And the leaders in Bixby says it'll cost their district $5 million. Tulsa and Muskogee Public Schools have already provided free meals for all students this past year, but have relied on federal dollars to do so. Walter says if districts don't comply, they could ultimately face a full financial audit and possibly lose accreditation.
Say, listen, there are ways to do this. It's not overly complicated, but you've got to prioritize kids in your budget. And so we've been working.
Emma Birch, 2 News Oklahoma.
You can find Emma's story at kjrh.com, along with links to our previous coverage, including my report from July 8th, which includes reaction from more school districts, lawmakers, and even some nonprofits.